record it. Okay, ladies, welcome. So I am Natalie Cutler-Welsh. Welcome to this blab. And today we're going to be talking about tips for, I call it tips for hashtag juggling the mother load, tips for running a business while raising a family, which is tricky to do. Being a parent's tricky, but and running a business is tricky. And when you put those two things together, it is tricky. So today we're going to be covering tips from these lovely three ladies that I've invited to come on board. And then at the end, what we'll do is I'll definitely open up the seat. I'll get one or two of you to just step aside, and we'll let anyone who's watching come in live and give their tips or ask questions. And they will also ask questions in the comments. So what I'll get you ladies to do is go around and we'll just do a quick intro, like, so who you are, what your business is about, and your family situation. So Pip, I will start with you. Philippa from Liked Media. Go ahead.
Cool. Thank you, Nat. So I'm Philippa from Liked Media, and I have 3 children, 8, 6 and 1. And so the juggle is a little bit different with school and also having another little wee one again. I run a business from home, social media, training and networking, and creative content too. I'm the editor of a magazine up here. And so yes, the juggle is very real, and keen to hear all your tips and share some as well.
Groovy. Okay, we'll finish the intros and we'll come for you for your first tip. I'll go along the bottom. So Alison, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Alison. My business is Run for Your Life Coaching, which is an online run coaching business for women anywhere in the world, just to either get you started or get you to your first marathon, or even could be your 5th or 10th marathon if you just want to get some improvements and feel confident with running. I started another business when I had my baby and he was little, and it was an online retail store. So been in business with a little one since he was 8 months old.
So that'll be really cool to hear your tips later about doing, because you had that baby business where you were going out to markets all the time, and now you're doing mainly online. So it'll be so interesting to hear your tips around that. Okay, Claire.
Hey everyone. I have the business Dom's Kitchen, a online club for helping people make real food fun and easy in real life. So lots of tips there. But I guess most of my experience with doing juggling came from being a full-time lawyer and having Dominic. I just have one child, Dom, and he's 4 now. But originally I went back to work full-time and just a lot of juggling there. And now it's a combination of part-time lawyering, part-time blogging with Dom's Kitchen, and looking after Dom.
Oh my gosh, I know. And I look forward to hearing your thoughts as well on that whole full-time, the decision about going back full-time, because that is definitely full on. We got some sound effects. Okay, great. So I don't know, is that you? Is that the background of yours, Pip?
That's my phone.
Oh, is that your phone? Okay.
I should have shut everything down.
That's cool. I was going to go to you first with before your baby wakes up. So let's go to you first with the tip. A first tip you want to give?
Cool. Gosh. Okay. I guess my first tip that I've found, just getting the juggle right in your head, is creating those boundaries. And for me, working from home is really getting that those lines clear. So I have my work time and I have my kids' time. So thankfully I have my little one in childcare in the morning, just for 3 hours a morning, 4 days a week. So I know that with the kids at school and my little one gone, that is when I need to do the majority of my stuff. And so everything else has had to give. When I'm in that 3 hours, I can't do any housework. I've just got to leave it. And I've had to get really, really, really strong about that, which has been really hard. But I guess that's my tip. Something's got to give, and you've got to use your time really specifically and wisely. Yeah.
I was going to say, how are you at sticking to that? Because a lot of people will, if they've got that time, they're like, well, just do the laundry and I'll just do this and just do that, and you lose an hour.
Yeah.
So are you quite vigilant with it?
I am now. I wasn't, and so I just stressed myself out, and I tried to do everything. Now I don't have a choice. I've got so much work to get out. I have to leave it, and I did employ a cleaner once a week. Probably not enough, but at least I know once a week everything is really well cleaned, and that's been a big help too. So it's just the mess. And I know that I can catch up with that later, and it's always going to be there. So
yeah, that's right. The laundry mountain will continue to grow.
Yeah.
That's excellent. Oh, hey, I'm just going to say hi to some people that have joined us. So we got Jam Mayer, who's come on board. We got Natasha Black. So, hey, you guys, feel free to go ahead in the chat box and comment and tell us, the name of your business and how many kids you are juggling. That would be really cool. Or not. You don't have to be juggling kids. So just the name of your business in the chat box would be awesome. Okay, Alison, what kind of tips have you got for us?
Well, firstly, I forgot to say how many kids I've got in the intro. So yeah. I've only got one, for anyone wondering. He's 3 3/4, so almost 4, as he keeps telling me. And a little boy called Axel, and he likes to run around and cause mischief. So
and what time did he go to bed last night?
After 10.
Wow, he's just a night owl.
Ask me what time he woke up this morning.
Oh,
5.
no.
6.
5. 6, okay.
Oh.
Which is actually, it kind of scuppers my main tip, which is to get up first. So get up before anyone else in your family. So then you just have some time for yourself, and you can do work stuff in that time, or you can just write your to-do list, or just sit and have a nice quiet cup of coffee and just, meditate. So just having some time when it's still quiet in the house is really important for me.
And I think that's something that is definitely doable if your child pretty much wakes up around, give or take 20 minutes, around the same time every day. Obviously, when you've got 3 kids like Pip and I, it's like, mine all they all wake up around 6. So really, I'd have to get up at 5.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. So Alison, are you managing to do that when he's not doing his crazy night owl thing? Are you managing to actually get up before him and get either some work done or some you time, like some meditation, journaling, something like that?
Lately, he's been waking up around 8.
Nice.
Which is great because my husband leaves for work at 7. So then as soon as he's gone, I put the jug on and I do my meditation then. And I've already done some work while my husband's, faffing around in the morning. So then I usually have an hour to myself, but yeah, not today.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's no guarantee. They always, just when you think you've got it sorted, this is the thing with kids, right? Murphy's Law. Just when you think, okay, I've totally got that. I know what's going on. I know their age and stage. And then they just change the game on you.
Changes. Yep.
The way it is. You just made me think of this. I haven't written a blog for my parenting blog. If only they told me. So this is the book we wrote, and we've got a blog, and we haven't done much on that for a while because we had problems with our website. We've just got it back online. So I'm like, I'm actually going to write a blog on this, and I'm going to embed the replay into that blog. So that'll be pretty cool. So all these tips can reach many more moms out there that are juggling either paid work or running a business or just whatever else they've got going on. All right, Claire, what tip have you got for us?
Hey, well, actually, a couple of what Pip and Alison have already said, because obviously compartmentalization and getting up early. I actually, because I'm a list maker, wrote down 5 tips. Should I say 1 or should I say 5? And
give us 1.
Are we going
to give us your favorite, like your total go-to tip?
Well, I'm a routine person. I make routines for everything. I've been known to write a 2-page morning routine, which included what I was, everything in the morning. So I've cut it down a bit because I know, I guess you guys have heard of this 6-minute miracle morning. Actually, Catherine Newton put me onto that. But the thing is, that's too short for me. I can't get 6 minutes. That was actually making me get stressed. So basically, it's the idea that you get up in the morning and I've made it a 30-minute miracle morning. And I have to stress that this is what I think is a really good thing to do, but I don't always do it. So it's just, I'm quite structured about it. Like I would get up, when I do this, I get up at 5 in the morning. I get dressed, get in my gym gear, which I'm into now, and then I have my apple cider vinegar and my sparkling water, 2 glasses of that. I do my headspace meditation, and I've got my gratitude journal that I write in, and I might read something, and I know, the fact that I'm not awesome at this is because I'm still always trying to figure out how to do it. So I read things like Brian Tracy, time management. And then I so I've got, and then I just have a cup of coffee, and then I look at my social media. So that's when I have the really good days, and I can highly recommend that as a really good routine to do. However, the caveat is that obviously quite often I wake up and I stay in bed for 10 minutes and check my social media on my phone, and you know, I don't do it, but so I'm not, you know, saying this is how I do it every day, and my life would be so much better if that is what I did every day. And when I go, you know, you kind of get in a role of doing it, and whenever I'm in the role of doing my miracle morning, that is what really makes my day. So I just get it all done usually between 5 and 6, and I do some exercise at 6 in the garage. I have a cross trainer thing, and then usually the ideal thing is that I would have had a shower and be dressed. With my makeup on, which I do like to wear, so then Dominic wouldn't see me putting makeup on and ask me, why are you putting that on your face? And I have to come up with some reason that so then I've all done that before he wakes up. And he's usually actually pretty awesome. He wakes up at 7, pretty much like clockwork. And I will say that it comes to my other tip, which I won't go into now, but get someone who's an expert on sleep to help you with your kids, because that's what I did. And from that time on, Dom sleeps, you know, really well. And that is a lifesaver.
That is a good tip, and we'll definitely come back to that. Now, I from my memory, the acronym for the Miracle Morning is SAVERS. Is that right? So SAVERS, yeah. I'm pretty sure it's S, which is, I don't know if it's this order, but scribe, meaning do some writing. Yeah, so you mentioned journaling. A, which is that activity, like exercise? No, maybe the E is. Anyway,
it includes the visualization. Yeah, that would be right. Yeah. It's including visualizing, being great, writing in a gratitude journal. A couple of movements. Like he goes for just 1 minute of star jumps. Like obviously anything is better than nothing, and I totally can see it. But to me, 6 minutes, like it's 1 minute per 6 things, is what the guy recommends. Are there like show notes here? Because we could put that somewhere if we.
Well, you know what? In the blog that I'm going to write, we'll put it in there. So you know, you can get back to me with the. We can put the link into it, so because it's a really great book, and a lot of people and a lot of the gurus are doing the Miracle Morning. It's a big thing. So yeah, definitely, if it's the kind of thing you can do on a regular basis, it's very effective. Okay, Pip, we'll come back to you while your phone's not ringing. I learned how to mute you, so I can mute you.
Oh, good. All my phones are going at once, of course.
All right. So what's another tip you've got for us?
Another tip, I guess for me, I've just had to ask for help. I tried to do it for so long, trying to be 100% working mum, 100% home mum, and I was trying to get it all exactly right without any other support. And so for me, I had to realize at some point that I needed to have that childcare time so that I could be good at both and I can be really clear. So I think asking for help and support, if you're, you know, juggling the mum and the business mum hats, I've realized, that I can't do everything, and you need to kind of get a bit of a team on board. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point. I mean, like, I think one of the things I talk about is that Supermom doesn't exist, and I believe in Wonder Mom. You know, like, I wonder how she does it, right? And so you don't need to do it all. And I think asking for help for some people is just a natural part of what they do, and for other people, it's really, really hard.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I could do it all myself, and and I could be Supermom, and you just can't. Yeah, you get to a point where you realize that, and it's hard to ask for help, but you need to if you're trying to juggle both. And
and even like you can, you could do it all. Like you could if you wanted to drive yourself into the ground. And some people think they feel like they should. I should be able to do all this. But I think nowadays, I mean, correct me if you think I'm wrong, but nowadays we are doing so many things. Like we're trying to bring in some money, and we're trying to still let the kids do all the extracurricular activities. So we're driving them here and there, and we're and something's got to give. And usually what gives is the looking after self part of things.
Yep, that's it. That's the first. Yep, and then time with hubby.
That's second.
Yeah, and it's also important for your physical and mental health. And it's just worth.
So what does asking for help look like for you? Like, what does that mean?
Well, for me, I needed to. Failing having fights with my husband every night after work, we needed to get someone in to clean and pay that money to get a cleaner, so we're not at each other's throats. And then pay the money for some childcare. I tried to not do that for a while, because I hadn't with the other two when they were little. So this time was quite different for me when she was 6 months old. But it was making that step and a safe step to a next door neighbour who does home care. So I sort of compromised a bit, and it's been fantastic. So asking for her to come on board, getting people to pick up the kids from school, you know, like even that was something that I felt like I always had to be there at their classroom every day, be that mum in school. And so I had to step back a bit and think, okay, what days can I do this on, or check in once or twice a week and let them walk, or let, you know, someone get them. And for me, naturally, it's I've always said, you know, no, it's fine, I'll do it. So it was really like stepping back and going, okay, yeah, that would be cool. And it's fine. The world hasn't ended.
What I found is people actually like the school pickup and things. People actually like to be asked for help as well. Like everyone, I think people generally like to give. And so if you ask someone for help, they're more than happy to pick your kid up from school.
Yeah. You tend to do it for everybody else, but then when you want to take on the help yourself, it's harder. So, yeah.
Awesome. That's good tips. I think it's the focusing on the things that are causing stress in the household. Like for you, it's cleaning. For someone else, it won't be cleaning. It'll be cooking or whatever.
Yes.
Excellent. Allison, what have you got for us?
Plan out your day. So this has come out really from Claire in our group doing the, what's the one thing that you're going to achieve today? So I like to plan out my day first thing in the morning, write everything that I want to achieve. And I number it in terms of priority, like what's the one thing that needs to get done, and then, what other things can get put off maybe until, tomorrow or the next day. It doesn't make them any less important, but it just means that I get the stuff that is, obviously the highest priority done first. And it could be anything from, just sending one email to making sure that all my invoices are up to date, I tend to number them because then I can get through them. It's like I can cross them off the list, and it gives me a lot of satisfaction. I'm such a I used to write a list and start at the top of my list, have write list. So then once my list was written, I could cross something off straight away.
It does feel good.
Yeah.
So for you, do you map out the week ahead and then break it down into day, or do you just do kind of day by day as you go? I know some people at the end of the day, they will make a point of writing out what they need to do the next day. So how do you do it? Do you kind of plan the whole week or day to day?
No, I do it day by day. I mean, I have a rough, I know what I'm doing during the week. So if I've got an appointment with someone, or if I've got a call booked online, then that's already going to be like the top priority for that day. But then at the start of each morning, it's like, well, I've already got this booked in the diary, so what other things need to get done today? And I sometimes do it at night, but I find if I do it at night, my brain is just fizzing with what else can I get done, or what am I going to do with that thing?
That's definitely one of the tips I'd love to talk about, which is the nighttime thing as well. So like when to stop work. So maybe someone will cover that. Okay, Claire, what's your next tip?
Okay, well, yes, I guess I can do that because my routines, that was just my morning routine. So the evening routine, I think, equally important. And this one I am really good at sticking to. Like for 4 years or so since Dom's born, pretty much the same routine every single night. So, dinner, I guess I only have obviously Dom, but I think if you had more than one child, do the same thing. So it's just like, always usually have dinner early at 5:30, sometimes even at 5. And I mean, of course, there's the odd time you don't, but I pretty much stick to it. So it's 5:30 for dinner, and then a bit of playtime, but then bath. And pretty much for the first 3 years, he was having a bath all the time. The only reason we don't so much now is I've been reading a lot about it, and it's actually potentially better that kids don't get washed all the time and have a bit more grubs on. So, but otherwise that was part of the routine. And the good thing about the bath is then, they occupy themselves, right? Plus have a nice time and generally feel more like going to sleep. And then, tea and bed and into bed by 7. And even if he would wake up late or whatever, it's like, I think it's so important because one thing I see happen a lot is that the kids stay up later and later because then they're seen as they don't want to go to sleep. So then they stay up later. And I find that he's more likely, it seems like you want to stay up later, but it's just a tiredness thing. So then you have some free time, right? Because then you have 7:30 till maybe 8:30 that you could do something. So that's my, do stick to that. And even doing like even earlier dinners, like I know some people say they'll give their kids, instead of the snack, give them actually dinner at 4:30. And it sounds crazy, but that's why a lot of kids, they're eating dinners at 4:30. They're eating snacks at 4:30 or 5 because the mum's come home and hasn't got the dinner in there. And then that leads into my other routine, which is Sunday. That is when I do, which is a more new routine for me since I started Dom's Kitchen 2 years ago and got into all the cooking, because before that I was a total packet person and just had frozen meals. And I mean, not all crap stuff, like I just had all frozen foods, like snap frozen vegetables. And so I used to just pull them out, and that was my way. And I used to just cook stir fry pretty much every night, which is still kind of healthy, but now I do Sunday routine. So Sunday is, I always cook a big roast now. A chicken or lamb, or just a big roast with roast vegetables, and do all this other cooking, which I can go into a little bit more detail because there's lots of tips and tricks for it. But essentially Sunday is the day that I prepare everything, and that's why during the week it's literally just getting stuff out of the freezer or out of the fridge that's already being prepared.
That's awesome. So with the Sunday prep, so you've got the oven on, so you just do like a whole bunch of things.
Yeah, and I mean, sometimes I do it with Dom and he's cooking and then we're taking pictures for the blog. But other times it's literally like a workout going on in the kitchen, It's like so messy. And that's the other thing that, like, what Pip does. I have a cleaner as well, and she comes on Monday. And like every Monday, the kitchen looks like it's a bomb site, right? Because I just cook everything. I use every dish or whatever and everything, all the pans, and everything is used. And then, but then that's one thing I don't have to do because I pretty much cook everything. And the other really great tip, I think, is it's getting containers. And I think one thing that people could do that really does help things, and it sounds a bit odd, but if you can get an extra fridge or an extra freezer and have it in your garage, or, just make sure you've got extra space, because you know how much time you spend trying to squeeze things in and then chucking out food because you couldn't find it. And so I think the fridge and the freezer, that's just, actually spending an extra bit of money and buying an extra fridge, freezer, or an extra freezer is really helpful. And I found that because I could never, after I started cooking everything, I could never find anything, and I was wasting food until I got the extra freezer.
I've got a little tip that combines Claire's tip and Philippa's tip. So it's around food, because that is a pain point for a lot of moms. And what my neighbors and I used to do is we would have a night of, we just do doubles. So one of us would make dinner, but we'd make two, like, 2 batches of the dinner. And then, so every other Tuesday, she would make dinner. I just know that dinner was coming to my house on Tuesday. She lived right there. I just pick it up. And so we're not eating together, but she's literally just handing me, the casserole or the whatever she's made. And that's quite cool if you're on the same page with what you guys like to eat and that type of thing. But that's great because you're actually helping each other out. And then you've got like one night a week when you're not, or every other week when you're not in charge of making dinner on the Tuesday. So that's quite a cool idea. All right. So thank you. We got Patrick has joined and Mahmoud has joined. So if you guys want to type in your situation, like, are you a dad? How many kids do you have? What's the name of your business? And if you guys have any specific questions, you can comment in the chat box. And later on, we'll open up the seat for someone to come on live if they want to join us. Jessica, you might, if you're still there, you might want to join us. Okay, Pip, do you have another tip for juggling the mother load?
Yes, something that's been really important for us, especially even as the kids have got older, I guess, and having the 3, is dates with the kids. And you get so busy with working and school pickup and dinner and bed, and every day is kind of the same. We found, especially lately with a 6-year-old and an 8-year-old, or nearly 7 and an 8-year-old, they've been just so needing that short time just with one of us, and we've been booking that on the calendar. And I think that's been a big thing for us lately, because because we're both working, we can't spend all of our time, go out, take them out and do everything, but we can have that specific time for them. And if it's on the calendar, they've got to, even if it's 1 or 2 weeks in advance, they're really looking forward to that. And it's, you know, like the other day was a walk up to the skate park with my boy, and he had a skateboard. He can't skate, but so we're all with cool kids up at the skate park, and we get an ice cream, and you know, it didn't matter what it was. It was just me and him, and he was picking flowers on the way, and you just get to chat and touch base with them again. And I think for us, we got into a stage where we kind of forgot, and we were just rolling with every, you know, it was just so busy. We weren't doing that anymore, and we realized how much they missed that. And so, yeah, that's one thing that we've brought back in. And then you feel like you're kind of juggling it a little bit better too, you know, like they need that time, and you know, a coffee, a little fluffy with my 8-year-old, and a piece of cake, and yeah, and they remember that for so long. And so we've been trying to get into a bit of a routine doing that with them.
I love that you mentioned that. That's something that we were doing for a while, but we let it go. I called it one-on-one day Sunday. And so every Sunday it would be a different child's turn. So obviously they get one a month. Yeah. And maybe that's a good idea. The fourth one should be like brunch date for Matt and I, and no kids. That would be a good way to do it. Yeah. So one-on-one day Sunday. And they just need to tell us, you know, what they want to do so that we can make any arrangements. And they would just alternate. So they don't get mommy and daddy both, because then we'd have to get some childcare. But they would choose like what they want to do and where they want to go. But it's quite cool when you get to that stage of doing kind of, you know, some of the more grown up stuff with them. Is pretty cool.
Yeah. You can see how much it means to them. It's really cool.
Okay, Alison, another tip.
Compromise. That's my big one. So, my husband works during the week, and I work on the business during the week, but sometimes I need to do things on the weekend as well. So, for example, this past weekend, I had a stand at the Women's Lifestyle Expo here in Rotorua, which meant I was down at the expo from 10 till 5, Saturday and Sunday. So my husband was, you know, solo dad for the weekend. But what we decided was that so he could still go out for a bike ride, he would go out earlier in the morning, so long as he was home by, you know, 9:30, ready for me to leave. So he still got, you know, he actually went out for like a two-hour bike ride on Saturday morning, and he went out for another 2 hours yesterday. So he was able to get his you know, the thing that fills his cup. He was able to do that so that when he did have to be solo dad for the day, he felt energized and, you know, excited about spending solo time with our boy. And they went on some really good adventures together, and it's really good bonding for them. So we do, you know, when it's just me and our son, we do completely different things. Yeah. So he's getting one-on-one time with each of us.
I love that you mentioned filling your cup. We've got this motto, we call it OTAD, which is one thing a day. So trying to do one thing a day that like fills your own cup. So for him, going for the bike ride, my husband's the same. He'll go out for an early run, and then he's more than happy to be in charge of the kids while I do something.
So we just happened to wake up at like 5, I think, on Saturday morning, because Axel had fallen out of bed and called for me to put him back into bed. So I did that, and then the birds started chirping. It's like, oh, there's no chance of us getting back to sleep. So let's make the most of it. That's right. Yeah, went for a bike ride, and I just, you know, prepped food for the day. Yeah, it was pretty good. So, but compromise all the time. So sometimes I'll need like an hour to do a Skype call with someone, and so Casey and Axel will either go for a bike ride themselves or just go for a, you know, walk around the block. We'll just play quietly with the trains in the lounge.
I think it's a compromise, and also just remembering you're on the same team.
Yeah, it's a lot of teamwork.
Because so often as a couple, it can be like, well, I'm more tired than you, or well, I've got more work. You know, I've got work to catch up on. I've got emails, and you're kind of competing. So you're saying like compromise, don't compete. That's good. Yeah. All right, Claire, what do you got?
Yeah, same sort of thing, really. Like Pip saying, we have a thing with Dom. I do Wacky Wednesday. Only lately, like last week, I didn't do it. And then Dom's like, let's do Wacky Wednesday Thursday. So anyway, we did that. I just try and do, like, he goes to daycare. Well, he can go any day, but generally I was keeping Wednesdays free and Friday afternoons for us. So when I say he goes, I normally take him at 10 and pick him up at 4. So it's a sort of short day. But definitely, yeah, I think when he gets older too, that's going to be cool. But we usually do things like, one of the most common things we do is go to Mitre 10. and get like plants and things like that. But the only thing is I think he thinks that, all plants come from Mitre 10, this, garden shop. So, yeah, anyway, we do that because it's a little thing. You can go there, look at the plants, go outside, play on the playground, and then come back, plant them. It's a whole activity. So that's kind of fun. And believe me, I would never have thought I was saying these kind of things. I am the person that thought what the point was in having any grass or any garden like 2 years ago. I was just like, why don't we just have concrete and we were going to put artificial grass so we didn't have to mow it. Like, it's just,
wow.
I totally have flipped around with everything.
From packets and frozen veggies to plants.
Yeah, and it was, but now it's like really cool. Like I'm looking out here and I've got lettuce and like just the basics all growing, and they look really good at the moment. So a little bit of that. And about the compromise, yes, the same thing as Alison, because my family mostly don't live in Auckland, and my mum is overseas in the UK. So my mother-in-law, on the other hand, is here, and I take Dom to her place, but we have a lot of this, we're not really eye to eye on exactly how I would look after him, what I would feed him and things like that. However, I can take him to her place on Saturday around midday and pick him up around midday on Sunday. And because my husband usually travels, it just means that way I have that space to myself. So it's worth the compromise to do that. And so, what else? The other thing I just had, I had reliable support network and learning to delegate with some other ones, but maybe one that we haven't talked about was having a good calendar system that works.
Yes.
In choosing. And I am really old school in that. And so, I'm like all about writing out crazy lists, like, and doing it like this sort of thing in my massive diary. But I also use Evernote. And I really love that for keeping track of things. I haven't really got the hang of Google using the calendar properly, but I think that would be a good idea. So choosing a calendar system that works and then sticking to it and actually using it.
Yeah, no, that's a great tip. There's a couple of things I wanted to mention, which I call it the 5 Bs. And I find that by sticking to the 5 Bs, you can make sure that you look after your family and yourself, as well as actually getting some work done. And I know that Pip mentioned one of them initially. She said boundaries. And so I talk about physical boundaries, like this is where I work, this is where I don't work. So like I used to work at the kitchen table. And then it was confusing for my kids, like, is she working? Is she not working? And then I'd get like frustrated if they were being noisy, but really I'm the one sitting in the kitchen. So having your physical boundary space, as well as your rules or your boundaries around time-wise, like when am I working? So for example, like you guys know, so one of the things I'm working on is to stop work at 2:30 and not trying to squeeze anything else in until like basically, 8 o'clock when they're, or 8:30, when they're in bed and the dishes are done type thing, which is really, really hard to do. So boundary, batching, buffer, B time, and blocking. And so blocking, I'll talk about that because it relates to the calendar, is blocking out time in your calendar so that you allow time for like lunch. Or buffer and blocking are similar. Like buffer is allowing time between activities. If you're the type of person like me and like Alison, I'm not sure about the other two of you, but where people can go to your online calendar, and I've used Calendly. I'm currently using You Can Book Me. There's also Schedule Once, and there's a whole bunch of other ones, online calendars. But if you've got some sort of business where people can go and book time with you, then make sure you actually block out certain times that you don't want people to come and book, because otherwise you got to cancel it and reschedule it, and it gets really messy. Or you're just not looking after yourself because you're not having that break, or you're not having lunch or anything like that. So that's really the blocking. The B time is time during the week, make sure, or actually every day, to do something, like I said before, that fills your cup. But B time is not so much like exercising, but actually possibly journaling or meditating or just being present. So it's not writing a to-do list, because that's not like B time. It needs that you can be journaling, free flow writing, or writing gratitudes, but not so much looking at your to-do list. So that's that's the B time side of things. And batching, of course, something that a lot of people know about. If you're doing blogs or podcasts, or you're doing your marketing, or really batch your time. So let's say you know you need to design 5 images for the week coming up. You've got an event. Then sit down and get on Canva and batch it. Like just do all 5 or 10 of them at the same time, rather than kind of chopping and changing from task to task. So that's me in the 5 Bs. Now, ladies, we got a few more minutes left. So we'll just go one more loop around with any tips, and then I'll see if anyone wants to come on. Anyone that's watching, I know Jessie had to go, so thank you, Jessie. She said, "Gotta go. I'll watch the replay. Great job, ladies. Keep rocking. Moms run the world. LOL. Hope to connect with you soon." So I mentioned to her, make sure you go and join my free private Facebook group, which is called Go To Girls Social Media and Networking. So hopefully we'll follow up with her later as well. So that was great to have her on here. Okay, Pip, do you have another tip for us around looking after, running a business while raising a family?
Yeah, just carrying on from what you were saying, Nat, the batching, I think, is something that I've had to get on board with lately, because my business has been so broad, and I have my social media management, my writing, my networking for mums, that I would just sit down in that 3 hours and I'd just be floating between everything and trying to get everything done and not feeling like I actually achieved much at all or completed something properly. So what I started doing on a big calendar my office, my dining room table, is having certain days for certain things. So I have it's pretty loose, but if I can kind of stick to that, like my social media days on Monday, where I pre-schedule in everybody's posts for the week for my clients, then on Tuesday is my time to catch up on my writing, so my blogging and all that side of things, any content I'm doing. I also do my savvy work then. And so really getting clear on those different days just seems to get my head from scatter to really refining it and actually getting some work out. And I've found that's helped amazingly. And then, and I'm trying to put in extra things, like on a Friday, catch up with my Xero accounts and that sort of thing, that side of things that I hate. But getting really, putting things, batching them in groups and not changing from that task I'm doing until it's done. And
when do you do your email?
My emails? I have a Wednesday morning that I get up early, that I focus on my own stuff. But at the moment, it's like late at night. I've got to get back into getting it in my daytime hours. But at the moment, just with having a launch to my VIP membership and some workshops coming up, I found kind of doubling my hours just at the moment. And so, my nights is kind of like working on my business time. So, yeah. But I used to do one late night a week and one date night a week, and that was really cool.
I think that sounds great. I mean, late nights are interesting because if you're doing consistent late nights, and late is of course subjective, but if I'm anything 12 or later, 12 to 2, I would consider like a really like a crazy late night. I mean, for me, a late night is like, 11:30, and I'll probably never work, to midnight. But I mean, doing a late night or even a crazy late night once a week, I think is fine, but just not all the time.
And hubby we work it, so hubby goes out, or that's his like night out to do whatever, sport or meet somebody. And so he goes out, and then I know that's like Thursday, late night. And you can cope with that. You can catch up with that. And that's
awesome. And the fact that he goes out, it takes the pressure off. You don't feel like you should be hanging out.
Yeah, not guilty sitting there on my computer. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, great.
To those.
So girls, before we go, I'm going to actually ask you each to tell us what you've got coming up, because I know you mentioned something about your VIP membership. So we're just finishing off 2 more tips, and then just so people can find out what you guys actually have going on business wise, I'll get you to just say briefly, what you got coming up in your business. And now thank you to Roshana Pratt, who's saying, love batching and having certain days for certain things. I know it's so effective. It's hard to not get distracted though, when tasks come in or private messages come in on Facebook or emails come in. It takes a lot of vigilance to stick to what you're meant to be doing. Okay, Allison, one final tip from you, please.
Turn off notifications if you really want to get stuff done.
And phones.
If I really want to get something done, I turn my phone onto silent, and it's got one of those covers, so I can't see even things popping up. So it's on silent, can't see it, can't be distracted by that. close Facebook and email. Like, I've got Gmail, Hotmail, and my business email. So I close all those down, and anything that can have any notifications that might not necessarily pop up on your screen, but you can see it on the tab. So yeah, close all those. And if I'm doing writing that needs to get done, I just don't even have the internet going. So it's all about not being distracted. And it's really hard to not do that, because I think you're just so used to having notifications coming up in your lives these days. But how did we get things done, like 5-10 years ago? It's like, I must have been so much more productive back then to what I am now.
Very efficiently. Hey, Allison, you're into fitness. You'll like this. One idea I had was to challenge people. Every time you check your Facebook messages, you need to do like 5. Give me, the Facebook 5 challenge, which is every time you check your messages, you need to either, depending on where you are, do like 5 squats, 5 push-ups, 5 sit-ups, something like that. And then you get pretty fit, I think.
I would be exercising nonstop.
Yeah, the Facebook 5 challenge. Okay, Claire, one last tip.
I guess the one that I'm still struggling with right now is learning to delegate and letting go of perfectionism. So I know we touched on that a bit before in the compromise and all that, but especially delegation. Like, it just, obviously you have to do it. So I think it's just getting started with that is the hardest thing, and finding somebody you trust. And that's within your budget, and but you need to do that. So
when you're talking about that, you're talking mainly about outsourcing, like finding tasks that you don't love doing, or maybe they're not in your talent area exactly, and trusting somebody else, and having a system in place, and having the money ready to pay them to do those things, so you can focus on what you love.
And they're not feeling guilty.
I tend to like doing a lot of it, but it's just that it's become pretty apparent that with social media, you can't do all the social media as much as what is necessary to keep going, as well as create new content, as well as run the business, as well as look after your family and husband and children. And it can't all add up, actually. It's only really hitting, it's pretty obvious. But just that, and I don't, it's just knowing where to go for that help. Like, it's not so bad for me. I find it quite easy for the home, like for helpers at home, but for the business, doing that,
Definitely. But it can make a huge impact. I mean, if people want to listen to something a bit further on the topic, I think I've recorded at least 2, maybe 3 podcasts all around outsourcing and how to outsource and what it is, and like some tips, like Allison's saying that she's written down a list of jobs to outsource. So one of the first things you can do is just do a big brain dump of all the jobs that you actually do in your business. And this is like a mind map maybe, and you'll blow yourself away with all the things you're actually doing, and then grab a highlighter and highlight the ones you actually love doing, love or like enjoy. And then you'll be amazed with how many are left. And Pip, earlier you mentioned doing your accounting, and I'm the same. I'm like, oh, it's so cringe. Like, I'm good at making money. I'm just not good at keeping track of the money that I make. So, it is a matter of outsourcing and finding the right person. So if people, listening to this or listening to the replay, if you go to GoToGirl social media, I think it's called GoToGirl Podcast on iTunes, or just check out my website. Go to my website, you just type in outsourcing, and it'll bring up, I think there's 2 or 3 blogs, podcasts, show notes all around outsourcing with some really good links that can help as well. I know that I've got my virtual assistant who I hired through Upwork, which was formerly Odesk, and that's been really effective. And also I used a company called Somebody to Hire, or VA to Hire, and that was it just streamlined the whole process. So that was really great. Allison's saying her list is Instagram. On your list, all right, is Instagram images, blog formatting, podcast editing. I know I hooked you up with my podcast editor, though. He's good. Yes. Okay, girls, really briefly, I'll let you to just go ahead and tell us what's coming up in your business, or what are you promoting it at the moment, so that people can find out about it, and also your website, how they can find you.
Me? Okay. So my website is just about to go live. So I'm still on my old one, but it's still at www.likedmedia.co.nz. And I mainly work out of Facebook on my Liked Media page. And at the moment, I have just opened a VIP membership group for my Liked Media, which is basically a group that you pay a monthly fee for. And there's a panel of experts that range from health and fitness to accounting and insurance. and then obviously a lot of social media help and assistance from me. And it's like a daily place you can check in for support and guidance and challenges and interviews and all that sort of stuff, and really get your hand held through business and your journey. So that's cool. And I'm just opening that up I've opened it up to my Mums in Business networking group first, and that's about to be opened up to my Light Media followers. So that is just around the corner.
Excellent. Well, we'll definitely have to do a follow-up blab going forward all about membership groups, because that's a hot topic. I did one the other week with Natalie Echtal from the Biz Chicks. So if people are interested in how to run private Facebook groups, how to, paid or free groups, then that was it's my podcast number 99 on GoToGirl. And that's got lots of juicy nuggets about how to successfully run, set up, run, and manage your Facebook group, which is great for a membership. Okay, Alison, what have you got?
I've got a coaching program for anyone who wants to run around the world, wherever you may be. So I do one-on-one coaching, which includes group coaching calls with a panel. I have an expert once a month. So last week we had a guy who's an expert on shoes. So just talking about how to get fitted for a shoe and what you should look for, and all kinds of stuff that helps beginner runners. And also, like myself, I learned a lot, and I've been running for 11 years, not consecutively all the time, but so I've got all this running knowledge myself, but I'm learning a lot too with these experts. So I coach one-on-one, and that's all done privately. But I also have a Facebook group for people who just want to talk about running with some other like-minded people, get a little bit more advice, but rather than having to go down the one-on-one path. So it's something for everyone, with whatever your budget, really.
I think it's so cool because a lot of people think, oh, running coaching, you need to be there beside me jogging or blowing a whistle in my face. But it's like, you can actually get a lot of support and direction around what to do, what not to do, with the online membership.
We have a great
really cool. Great. I've asked Roshanda to join us, so she's just coming in. But in the meantime, Claire, what have you got coming up with Dom's Kitchen?
Okay, well, because running Dom's Kitchen is health and wellness blog, basically paleo blog for families, and especially focused on children. So we've had Roshanda, basically been just running the blog and doing it on Facebook and getting a lot of people interested in following for about a year, and now just recently launched the online club. So the idea of the online club is it's a place where people can come, be supported, learn new things, get exclusive recipes, get discounts with suppliers, and that sort of thing. So we've just launched that, and we'll be bringing a lot of more things to it. And you can find us. I've got a new link to it. It's domspaleokitchen.com. So that's easy to find with the .com, Dom's Paleo Kitchen. But and if you go there, you can see all the information.
That's awesome. Okay, that's great, because I know that I thought of you this morning, Claire. I had a breakfast that you would be so proud of, because I'm good at eating healthy things. I'm just such a bread and pasta lover as well. So I had my breakfast, and I'm like, I had asparagus, tomatoes, egg, and I took a photo. I'm going to tag you on Instagram later.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
Okay. Girls, we've got a few minutes left, so I invited Roshanda to come on in to. So can you let us know, do a little intro, your name, your business, if you've got kids, and any tips you've got, or if you've got questions.
My name is Roshanda, aka The Rose Show. I'm a storyteller, strategist, former television news producer of 10 years. So I help people tell and discover their brand story. I am a wife and a mom of 3, have mercy, 5, 8, and 9. Yes, 3. And I'm so glad that they're allowing me to do this blab, because I'm sure they're hanging out outside the door waiting to come in here at any moment.
I can imagine. Yeah, I've got 5, 7, and 9. So we're very, very similar.
So I was so excited just to stumble upon this blab today, because I love hearing how moms are making it work, because it could be overwhelming. And especially when you, with my industry, adding media to it. But one of the things that I typed before was I have discovered about how to get my kids involved in the business. And my 8-year-old, I said 7, but I just realized she had a birthday last week, so she's 8, is actually my assistant. She actually told the other kids that she's my assistant. So she packs my laptop bag. When I have speaking engagements, she puts together my handouts, and she also helps me get dressed.
That's
Yes,
a style
mommy, don't
consultant.
wear
I
those
love it.
shoes. I was like, oh, thank you.
Well, they're great because they'll give it
Totally.
to you straight, won't they? And when you're networking, because I'm go-to girl for social media and networking, what you wear, it does make a difference. So if you can get an honest opinion from,
Oh,
rather than
yeah.
your husband going, "You
Oh,
look
yeah.
great, honey,"
She's
your
very
kid will
honest.
be
She's
like,
no, mommy,
mama.
don't wear those shoes. I was like, you don't like them? She's like, no, it's not working with that dress. And I said, oh, thank you very much.
Oh, I love it.
So, I mean, and I think that takes the
I love it. That's cool. So how do you work? Like, do you work full-time, part-time?
Oh,
How do you
gosh.
make it work?
Well, I realized that sleep is I'm probably not getting enough of it. But one of the things that I've learned to do is with my business, I do work that full time, but I also am still in the television industry part time. And so one of the things that I've learned is to really hold myself accountable to being a good steward over time. Some days are better than others, and I'm learning not to feel guilty when the days that it doesn't work. I'm like, okay, I'll just try it again tomorrow. And in the meantime, I'm also learning how to put things first, like my health. So shout out to Allison and Claire, because I want to run a 5K one day. And I really just got back into the gym and putting first things first, because a healthier me means a healthier business. And also just being realistic about my time and what I can and can't do.
That's right. Because I mean, you can't do it all. Like we talked about earlier, for those people that were here, we talked about, Superwoman doesn't exist. It's all about I talk about Wonder Mom.
Totally.
It's Wonder
I
Mom.
punch Supergirl in the face. I just can't. I can't.
Yeah.
I'm like, it's not real. And I think we've played into that so much, because I don't know about anybody else. I've dealt with mommy guilt in the sense of feeling like I'm not spending enough time with the kids. Am I too involved in my business? Picking up the phone, checking the notifications while you're at the play date, and just realizing, you know what, it's got to wait, because I teach clients how to treat me. And if I'm always available, they will never respect my time.
That is so key. I mean, when I was doing, I went to Natalie Sisson's Suitcase Entrepreneur. I went to her retreat last year, and that's one of the things she's really big on. And I'm not, because I'm so there for my clients almost too readily. And she's like, you need to train them that you're not available 24/7. So even if their message comes in and it's like 10 o'clock at night, she's like, don't answer
Totally.
it. Really
I learned that the hard way, Natalie. I've always told my clients, 2:45 to about 4 o'clock is really off limits, because I'm just picking up from the kids from school, when the throes of homework, Evan, someone's going to have a breakdown during homework. So I need time to just, to life coach that situation. So please don't call. And I had this client who would call all the time at 2:40, even though I would explain until I finally had to just say, you know what? I'm not going to answer the call. I'm just not going to do it. If you're not on fire and you're not having a strong media crisis, because at this point in time, I used to do crisis management. So if you're not having a crisis, you can wait. You can wait.
Yeah, exactly. You got to that's one of the things when I talked about the 5 Bs, right? You got to have your boundaries. You got to have your buffer. Now, ladies, speaking of buffer, I totally apologize, because I didn't put I didn't put buffer in my calendar, and I had someone come and book an appointment right now with me that I need to dash to. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stop the recording. Thanks everyone for listening. So you guys stay on. I'm just going to stop the recording. So thanks guys for listening. You can come and check me out. Go to girlssocialmedia.com, join the private Facebook group, and come and hang with some more amazing, lovely ladies like this. If you've got a topic you want to hear about, then just send me a private message. I'm